I think a lot of us are just hoping we're okay without actually knowing. This is what it looks like to stop guessing.
So we finally stopped guessing and actually tested it.
We spent the money, we scheduled the labs.
Not because we had it figured out, but because we didn't.
So the real question is, what actually changes when you stop guessing about your health and decide to find out?
Okay, it's on. We are starting our blueprint journey. How are you feeling right now? Because you're the one going first.
It feels different than I expected. It's a little bit surreal. It's not exciting, but it's more like a processing feeling. There's going to be a lot of changes coming soon, and this is one of those, what did I just do kind of moments.
That's fair, just settling into the idea of blueprint. So what is different about it than any other thing that we've done before? What's really changed for you?
Well, I would say that before there were a lot of hypotheticals. I'm getting supplements from a variety of different places. We're trying things aren't working. This is a supposedly proven system that Bryan Johnson has put together. And now we are going to be able to see step by step if this makes actual changes in my longevity journey. Can't push this off anymore. No longer hypothetical. We're about to get real answers, whether we're comfortable with them or not. This isn't curiosity anymore. This is commitment. We are about to find out what is going on for real.
Yeah, there's no version of this where we just get to go back to not knowing.
But this didn't really start with ordering labs. It started with something that I've been dealing with for a while now.
So what has been going on? Why does this actually matter to you right now? It feels like there's a little more weight to it.
When you look at my health history, I've always kind of been stuck in sort of this middle ground. My weight has never been fantastic. Better in recent times, but then just like that, it's back up over the winter, right? My energy, not always where it should be. My sleep, not always great. My cancer history and what we had to do in order to take care of that cancer history, right? Problematic. So the real thing is that over this time, I'm trying a bunch of things, and I honestly really don't know if any of them are working.
So yeah, we went through with it, and now we're just waiting to see what comes back.
The truth is, I'm out there telling myself that I'm fine, but I really have no actual idea. I feel like I've been doing enough to be okay, but truth is, I'm probably not doing enough to be sure. There's always that lingering thought in the back of my head, like, what if something's off and I just don't see it yet?
And that's the scary part. I think a lot of people do exactly what you've been doing. They go off how they feel, their intuition, and they feel fine. They assume that they're okay. But if you're not actually checking anything, then how do you know when something's off?
Yeah, for sure. This isn't about improving something small. This is about actually understanding my body in this moment, not a position that I want to be guessing about anymore. I've been doing enough to feel okay, but not enough to know that I'm okay.
What I like about this is you're going to get your lab results and a plan for how to move forward. I think it's that second part that's usually missing for a lot of people.
So the real question becomes, what if it's not what I think?
So what are you worried about? What don't you want to see? What would surprise you? Honestly, you've been through many different trials, right? You've worked with the nutritionist, you've done your own research on supplements and kind of piecemealed it together. But what is different about this?
I think what's different is that we're going to have a lot more information. In the past, we've had labs and, basic doctor assigned labs that only give you so much information. Working with the nutritionist, they were able to do some other tests and hone in on individual things. This is the most comprehensive view of my health and longevity that we've ever seen.
I think that's the key and longevity, right? It's biomarkers for your longevity purposes.
Yeah. And obviously we know just from looking at my regular doctor labs that my cholesterol is high. Everything else is good and clean. But I guess what I'm really nervous about is finding some new things that I have to work on immediately. There's probably going to be some things that pop up in there that are okay, red flag, attention immediate, right?
Right. And it's not just the vanity things of maybe there's this weight loss prescription that you have. This could be some really powerful longevity related metrics that you're probably going to have to prioritize.
Yeah. I'm not worried about getting sexier as I get older, that's for sure. But I am worried about what else might be lying in wait.
Well, we are about to find out either way.
Yeah, this is a choice that you and I made together for not just about Blueprint, but it's about my health, it's about my future, and the extra bonuses that we get to bring the rest of the worldwide tribe along to understand this journey with us. But the truth is, whatever comes back, we are prepared to deal with it. I'm very grateful to have a certified health and wellness coach to guide me through this process. It's certainly going to make it easier. There's a lot of complications in this. It's not just something that you just go, okay, day one I do this, day two I do this. We're going to have to piecemeal things along a little bit as we go and figure out truly what helps and what doesn't.
Yep, we will have a plan. And at this point, we're going to find our answers either way. We will not be able to unsee your test results.
Doing something like this makes you wonder, how can you even decide if something like Blueprint is worth trusting?
Okay, so what did we actually do? You know my favorite question. How much did this cost and what have we committed to here?
So the early stages are that we committed to blood labs. Mm-hmm. We have a blood lab scheduled next week, so we're going to get some real information. Blood labs, you get 2 of them a year, and they run about $1 a day, obviously $365 for the year, right? So in addition to that, we picked up some of the basics. We picked up Bryan Johnson's protein powder and his longevity mix. These are things that are automatically part of the protocol. The next steps will be getting our lab results back, and then we're going to run those through Bryan AI.
Bryan AI.
Bryan AI.
Our own Bryan virtual assistant.
We get Bryan in our very own home. He gets to hang out with us all the time. So we're going to run it through Bryan AI and see what other things we need to add along the way.
Based on your personal results.
Based on my personal blood results, that's correct. And then part 2 is we're going to work with a doctor who prescribes actual medications to help with some of these things. Now, some of these things are what we were talking about in the previous video: hair loss treatment, weight loss treatments, erectile function treatments. Not quite there yet, but we're still going to try it. We're still going to see what works.
And again, based on your results, what the doctor recommends, all of that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that will be our next step then, is actually speaking to the doctors who prescribe these medications, and incorporating those into our lives and into this series.
So this is the entry point to the system.
Yes.
And quite frankly, this is where most people just stop, which I don't get. Why wouldn't everybody want to do this?
Well, to be fair, it's a high bar for entry into this system. There's a financial commitment to it. We've dropped $500 just to start this system, and we know that there's going to be more right around the corner. There's a time commitment that goes with this. If you've watched Bryan Johnson's Don't Die, you see that he is committed to this literally all day long, every day, hundreds of pills.
It is a longevity lifestyle.
Yeah. Ends his eating at 11 o'clock every single day. We are no longer just talking about this. We are actually committed to finding out. We are putting ourselves out there and putting ourselves through it first, so you can find out, so the worldwide tribe can find out, does this really work? Is it a real thing? Is it something that they might be interested in doing, or did it just kind of fall flat?
We are putting our money where our mouth is and doing
Literally.
this so you don't have to guess and you can learn from our experience.
So Coach Dree, tell me, how are we going to go about accomplishing this? Is it something where we're just going to jump in the deep end and see what happens, or?
Absolutely not. Slow and controlled. We are not going to do everything all at once. I think that's the fastest way to fail, honestly. How are you going to know which one of these things works and actually moves the needle, right? Like, you don't want to have to do this whole protocol for forever and ever. We're going to break things into different components and focus on maybe your sleep first, your energy, whatever comes back. We're going to take one component and focus on that particular protocol. As you know, we're all about those 1% better, small investments for our health today so that it can, really have major impacts for later in life. But also it just allows us to kind of control and see what is actually working for you versus what's not.
So where are the gaps in our plan? Where are the holes that I can fall through? Where are the fail points that we can think about now and eliminate?
We're not going to do everything at once. I think that is overwhelming. It would be overwhelming for you. You might not meet that commitment bar to entry. So we're not doing everything at once. And then key for me has always been tracking. We're going to track these through the labs and also track how you're feeling as you start this protocol.
And I'm very grateful to have an expert tracker on my team. Thank you. I'm not the best tracker, but I do have a professional on my side.
I may have already created the spreadsheet.
I can't wait to
I'm really
let
excited.
you use it and not pay any attention to it.
That's not the point. You've got to pay attention.
So basically, we are going to break this down. What they told me in the Marine Corps was Barney style. We're going to start with the baseline of labs, sleep, recovery. We're going to start testing these pieces one at a time, track them, and see what actually changes, then bring it all together.
We're not just following Blueprint. We're testing it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this only matters if it actually changes something.
So what's really at stake here?
Well, I guess this isn't just about trying something new. It's not about optimization just for the sake of optimization, but it's about what happens long term to my body and what happens if nothing changes.
So let's talk about what happens if this works and what happens if it doesn't.
Yeah, well, if it works, things actually improve. Energy, health, biomarkers, direction changes. It impacts how I live moving forward.
And if it doesn't?
I mean, it's really nothing more than just a waste of time, money, and effort.
you're not going to be any unhealthier. But if the time and effort doesn't move the needle the way you want it to, or not enough, then the people need to know what's happening.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so if this works, it really changes how I approach everything. And if it doesn't, well, we've saved everybody out there from wasting their time. This is bigger than just health.
So at this stage, what's been surprising to you so far?
Well, I wasn't surprised by the costs, and I knew the process was going to be complicated. So it wasn't how complicated it was, I suppose it was how this truly changes my relationship with my health.
Okay, so how so?
Well, once you step into this, it changes you. You can't just go sit on the outside anymore. You're not guessing, and you're not just fingers crossed hoping anymore.
Yeah, you can't go back to guessing. You can't go back to, I'm probably fine. Once you see it, it's yours. Once you do this, you don't get to go back.
Back to what?
Back to guessing. Back to, I'm probably fine.
Yeah, once you see it, you own it. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't even know how to judge something like this.
That's exactly what we break down next.
So go watch that video, because before you follow anything like Blueprint, you really need to know how to evaluate it.